Hello, I'm Dr. Joe Poyman, Executive Director of Texas Alliance for Life, and I'm here in Austin in our offices. I have a very special guest today, and her name is Dr. Ligaya Acosta, and she's with Human Life International. Dr. Acosta, welcome to Texas, and welcome to Texas Alliance for Life. You are with a wonderful organization called Human Life International. A lot of us have been aware of HLI for many, many years, and I know the good work that you do in many, many corners around the globe. In Texas, we're used to being very Texocentric, and in fact, we long for the days of the Republic of Texas when we got our independence from another country. But today, I want us to look more internationally for a minute, and we're very honored to have this guest. Dr. Acosta, tell us about Human Life International, and then tell us about yourself.
Thank you very much. Good morning or good day to all our viewers and listeners. I'm very honored to be here in Texas. I am Dr. Ligaya Acosta, as you introduced, and the Regional Director of Human Life International for Asia and Oceania. So it's two continents. So we have regional directors all in other continents, like in Africa, in Europe, for Latin America. And I happen to take charge of two, and Asia is the largest continent in the world with 60% of the total population, and Oceania, the countries in the Pacific Islands also. And Human Life International is all over the world, and we are basically an educational institution trying to open the eyes of the people on the preciousness of human life, as well as the evils of all the things which destroys life, marriage, and family as God designed it to be. But I wasn't always like this, so I was on the other side for so long, but God is so good that He gave me a chance to renew my life before I die. So I'm so happy. If not, I would not have met you and know the beautiful work that you are doing.
Okay, so you gave us a little bit about Human Life International, and you have a presence in the United States too.
Yes.
I think your president is here, and you are. But your story. Give us a little bit about your your educational background, and then what convicted you to, I think, have a dramatic change of viewpoint and become involved in Human Life International and join the pro-life movement in the world.
Thank you. In fact, Human Life International, I would say, used to be my mortal enemy in the past because I was working with the Department of Health in my country. So people would, in the Philippines, I'm a Filipino, and then people would tell me, Human Life International is doing like this. And you know, us at Department of Health, family planning, as they call it then, which is actually a population control program, which is funded by mind-boggling amount of money from international organizations. And then, we promoted all these anti-life things, like, for example, the massive promotion of contraception, population control, and especially for poor people, they didn't even know that they were already sterilized or whatever. And, you know, for poor people, when you give them, like, there was one province who would give in exchange for sterilization, a sack of rice or 5,000 pesos or $100, that is already great for them. And so they would do this. And then people were saying, oh, there is this Human Life International. It already had its presence in the Philippines. And they would say another thing. And I would tell them, oh, who are they? We are supposed to be the expert in health matters because we're the Department of Health. And little did I know that they were the ones telling the truth, and that one day in my life I would be jumping over the fence and join them and be very passionate in promoting faith, life, and family all over Asia and Oceania and the world.
So that is pretty amazing. And you've been doing this how long, and what's your typical, what's your day like? How you travel a lot, because that's an enormous part of the globe.
So I've been here 12 years, going on 13 years at Human Life International. It's been so amazing that despite the fact that we don't have that much funds, we're able to do a lot. We conduct a lot of pro-life trainings for clergy, for religious, for lay leaders all over the world, for seminarians, for just anyone or any group who would like to know more about how to effectively defend life and family. And it's been so amazing. You ask me, how does my day look like? So I had a friend who came to me and I said, oh, I'm so sorry, but you can just come with me so we can talk along the way. And I think she felt dizzy and she said, how are you able to do this? Because there are times like, for example, I went to one country in Malaysia and they learned I was coming. It was supposed to be 3 days for a meeting and then it became 21 days. So I started my day with 7 o'clock, a talk in the school, the next afternoon, a talk in another school, and then in the evening, I was still having some speaking engagements and trainings for lay leaders and clergy and others. But what is amazing is when I was still at the Department of Health, I was also a trainer, and then if you let me speak like for a half day, the whole time without any rest, I would be cranky when I go home. But in this mission, you feel God's goodness. It's so amazing that when I go home, I'm still smiling. I can still do the piles of laundry and be very happy with my husband and my children. So it's so amazing when you work for life and family.
That's fantastic. You have an enormous job to do, which is to educate people about the sanctity of life, how abortion takes the life of an unborn child, and that is just happening at unthinkably large numbers every year in across the world. I think the estimate is some 50 million or more abortions every year across the world, and you're trying to address that with, frankly, I'm sure very sparse resources. What are some of your greatest challenges? And we were talking before about the United States exporting abortion. We'd like to export good things, but that is a terrible thing that's being exported. How is that happening?
Well, there's a lot of challenges. We look up to you here in America. So when you, for example, when you legalize same-sex unions, so people were saying, oh, you there in Asia or Philippines, you are a Catholic country, you are behind civilization already. Look at them, they have legalized this and that, or like using all, like abortion, oh, they're doing it there and it's just okay. And so they think that we should also legalize it. So it's a challenge, but what I see and I observe all over, and I've been practically all over the world, there's really power in the gospel of life. There is joy in the splendor of truth. And I become more and more passionate each day, proclaiming with passion about life and family, the preciousness of the gift of life, the most precious gift that God ever gave us, and that if we do not defend life, what is there more for us? So, and then of course, there's practically all, we call them the peddlers of the culture of death. They are all over, and they're actually winning because they're giving a lot of money. For example, this organization would say, oh, so you need waterworks or you need projects like this, you need a building. Oh, that's easy. We can give you, and we can even give you more. But that's why you are poor, because you have many children. Why don't we do mass ligation or mass vasectomy? Or, you have to help us. Abortion should be legalized in your country. And in the Philippines, for example, it's a crime. And so many people fall into the trap because of money. And I would say I was one of those who was ideologically colonized for more than 28 years of my life. As you have mentioned, I was on the other side. And I even founded a consultancy. We called Health Consultants Incorporated, together with a few partners. And during the time, I thought I was enjoying because, there's a lot of money, and I was making the project proposals, and it's millions, and I really think the money is meant to be corrupted, because you can do all this, and it was so easy. But during all those times, Joe, when I had all the money that I could spend, it was like I wasn't happy deep inside. So it was like I was looking for something. That's why probably I finished 4 degrees because I was trying to look for something. But now I know I have found the best. It's really that when you have God in your life, you shall really have found the pearl of great price. And you will be willing to sell all your possessions to be able to acquire this pearl of great price. And we are able to infect others with our passion and become pro-life, pro-family.
That is fascinating, and while we have sparse resources, we do have the truth on our side, and that can be infectious. I really love hearing that. You talked about abortion being used for population control. Now, the marketing in this country is abortion is needed because it's a woman's choice. And for a woman to fully be a woman and compete with men in society, she needs to have abortion. But I think that think that's kind of a veneer that we hear, but the forces that we know about that are promoting and paying for abortion internationally, it's really about population control. It's about keeping people, poor people, few in number, as a way to control their populations. And abortion, women essentially then, would you say, are pawns in a scheme to control countries and poor people. So abortion is being pushed on poor people as a way to, not for dignity of women, but just as a way to keep poor people smaller in number. Would you agree with that?
Yes, very much. You said it very beautifully. In fact, I must have mentioned that before I became finally converted, I read thousands of pages of books and materials. And the more I cried, the more I read, the more I cried. And there was this one document where I cried the most. It was the National Security Memorandum, NSSM 200. And it comes from the U.S. National, and it named 13 countries targeted for the population. And I was so horrified. I found my country there, Philippines. And it said there that, because it used to be a top secret document, that, we need their natural resources. We need their minerals for our military arsenal. But we have to be careful that this is our agenda. Let's just tell them, that's why you are poor, because you are many. So if you limit your children, then you improve your quality of life. And I tell the people whenever I speak to them, see, you have already decreased your population, the number in your family. Tell me, have you become rich? We just became, as you said, you reduce the big poor families into small poor families. And it's even so amazing that they spend billions of dollars for population control. So when I spoke at Congress and in many other forums where we had debates, I told them, if you are really indeed concerned about the quality of life of the people, with all the mind-boggling amount of money you're spending for population control, why don't you just give them or spend them for livelihood opportunities for the poor or for housing? Then perhaps there will be no more poor in this world. It's so amazing that they're spending a lot of money. Whereas us at Human Life International, I can tell you, we have to kneel down a lot because we don't even know where we are going to get our next funds for our round-trip airfare, because, it's so expensive to travel between countries, especially in Asia, and going to Oceania. And then of course, your meals, and then for all the activities, the many, many activities that we are doing there. So it's so amazing. So when I was listening to you here in the U.S., oh gosh, how blessed can they be? And we hope that you can share a little bit, because, in Asia and Oceania, we have a lot of poor countries in where I am who cannot afford to even go to this, to the trainings that we conduct or for the seminars that we conduct. In fact, our Asia Pacific Congress, which I hope you can really come. I think I should really call it a World Congress because it attracts people from all over the world. We would be very honored to have you. I was listening to you yesterday, and then I was saying, Joe can inspire the people there from all the countries. But it's just so amazing. Even with the little that we have, we actually depend on donors, mostly from here, from the United States of America, because you are the most blessed people in the world. And then we assure all our donors that every penny that they gave to us, we stretch it a lot. And personally, I can say that because to me, since I came to Human Life International, it's like working 30 hours a day, 10 days a week, because even when I'm sleeping, I'm thinking of what to do next. Because, when you are in the front lines, you are in the battlefield, you see how it is. You are up against huge Goliaths, and we are little Davids. But probably that's why God gave us that base so that we'll be able to get inspired, that even with just a slingshot.
Dr. Acosta, I wanted to ask you about this upcoming event you mentioned. It's a World Congress, and I think that's held every other year. You have one coming up in pretty soon. Tell us about that. Where is it held? How can people learn more about that?
Yeah. It's actually called the Human Life International Asia-Pacific Congress on Faith, Life, and Family, or for short, we call it an ASPAC. But I would like to call it World Congress because actually it attracts people from all over the world. So, for example, now there have been several from the US who have registered, from Europe. So it's held in a different country each time. Before, we used to hold it annually, but because of lack of funds, we decided to have it every 2 years. And I'm so inspired to hold this because we have produced a lot of leaders there. So, for example, we had Mayor Sally Lee of Sorsogon City in the Philippines. She came to one of this Asia Pacific Congresses. She was so touched. And then she asked for a meeting with me, and she actually declared her city a pro-life city. And it was really, really beautiful. And we see a lot of stories like that. But it's also a challenge bringing this up because it's attended by so many people, by cardinals, bishops, clergy, lay leaders from so many countries, and many of them cannot actually afford to come. So some of them we need to subsidize, and like for registration fees or for their airfares, and we constantly pray a lot. So perhaps if there are some of you who are listening there and you want to sponsor somebody, we would be very happy, and we can assure you that it always works. So we do it in a different country each time because we are conscious that many people cannot go to an international congress because it's so expensive. So we want to maximize it. So the last one we held in Bangkok, we have held it in Kazakhstan, in Taiwan, in Korea, in the Philippines, in Hong Kong, and so many countries. And this time, we are the 22nd Asia Pacific Congress on Faith, Life, and Family. We are holding it in Kerala, India. So I really hope you can come. It's going to be from January 17 to 19, 2021. It was supposed to be October 5 to 7, but unfortunately, the Vatican postponed the ad limina visit of the bishops of India, and they're supposed to be there to grace the Congress. So that is why we found the date of January 17 to 19. We hope you can come and inspire the people there. I always say to the participants who need to shell out something for the registration fee to pay for hotels and for their meals, nothing goes to us, to the organizers. It's all spent there. And I always tell them, I will guarantee your money back if you will not be satisfied with what you will learn from there. Because once you are there, for example, we had one gracious Japanese lady who came by the name of Izumi. She's so sweet. She came to our Bangkok Congress, and she was so inspired. She said, and I believed you because I heard from your talks. You were very passionate about this, and you were very sincere. Can you come to Japan? And we actually planned for this, and now we are having a lot of activities in Japan. I've been going there several times and having talks, and they've been so touched. So really, it's so amazing that there's really joy in the splendor of truth, and they haven't heard this. In many, many countries that we go to, it's the first time that they are hearing a message of life and family from Human Life International because there are no other pro-life groups there.
Right. That's magnificent. If someone wants to help contribute financially, you must have a website or something. Can you tell us that?
Yes, you can go to our website at www.hli.org, and we have there a corner which you can click for you to be able to donate. Again, I would like to tell you that every cent that you donate to Human Life International is multiplied not only 100-fold but 1,000,000-fold. And me personally, like, Japan is so expensive, but the people there has a hunger for truth because they have never heard this, or in other countries, that I sacrifice, just even if I can only have one full meal a day, that would already be okay. That's how I sacrifice, because I always think, oh, our donors also sacrifice in giving this. So, and if you can come and see how we work, we would be very happy. Joe, it would be an honor, and I will pray for that one day you'll be able to join us.
That would be magnificent. And what does it cost for one person to attend? I mean, if someone wanted to sponsor someone, what would that be in U.S. dollars?
For fare, for example, an average of $1,000, that's nothing to you. For other countries coming from Asia and Oceania, that can reach up to $1,800. And we have some participants coming there, like some bishops. And then our registration fee, as much as possible, I don't like to increase it, because most of those who attend, the pro-life leaders from Asia and Oceania, they're just volunteers and they don't have salaries, and they're not coming from rich families. Just $350. What is that to many Americans? $350. But the $350 registration is going to pay for a 4 nights hotel accommodation. We don't go to 5-star hotels, but at least a comfortable hotel. 3 meals a day, and 2 refreshments for coffee breaks. And then, of course, I believe that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And I want to reward them for all the hard work that they are doing in the respective countries as volunteers. So we make it so special. And then during the 3rd day, the last half day, we call it field trips. So we bring them around. And it's really, we're trying to maximize everything. So we really hope you can help, and we pray for all our donors every day of our lives. And then it's multiplied, because wherever I go, I always tell the people that, I'm able to come because of generous people, especially from the United States of America. Please also pray for them. And they promise they will.
That sounds magnificent. Well, I hope somebody will take more. Many of us will take an opportunity to help out, because it sounds like for $2,000 or a little bit more, we can bring someone to that conference who could take back that spark and your enthusiasm and make a huge difference in their own countries.
Yes.
That would be magnificent. Well, Dr. Acosta, I want to thank you for coming. We're really honored. I think you're the first international guest we've had on our live broadcast, and we hope to have you back again soon. You're just a magnificent ambassador for the pro-life message, and I'd love to encourage other people to go and see you in your part of the world, and hopefully I can come there too. So thank you very, very much. Let me wrap up by just saying we have our annual benefit dinner coming up, and if you can't go to Asia but you want to go to a great pro-life event on Saturday, October 12th, here in Austin, Texas, is our annual benefit dinner. That will be at the Hilton Austin. We really encourage you to come to that and be with as many as 1,500 other excellent pro-life people to celebrate life and to raise money for our educational, legislative, and political activities here in Texas. Again, thank you for joining us on our weekly Facebook event, and we look forward to having you back next week.